all of the awliya of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the asfiya, the anbiya, all of the people that are close to Him, they have that quality. And in the time that we live in, where it's not everyone knows, even people who were numb and they were given an aesthetic of materialism and just being me, myself, and I, they are also realizing that there is oppression. The times are going to get a lot more difficult as we go along. Everyone has this feeling. And as you can see, day by day, things are getting worse, and they are going towards that point or a milestone, which is the accumulation of events that makes permeable the advent of the Imam. That the occultation, which is barriers, are being lifted. The time is getting very close. Each day, barriers that would not have been lifted for maybe months or years are being lifted in a day. And we're not perhaps realizing, but the events that are unfolding in history, they have never unfolded like this before. And the ones that are, in their 50s or so, you can attest to that. We have 50 years that we can go back and see, and things were never this fast, and the events that have happened, we have not seen them before. The word is ghaira, the quality that all the anbiya, all the awsiya, all the awliya, awsiya when I say is the people who have been chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Awliya are the friends of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one who are close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anbiya, prophets. So all of them that are going to be having any status on the Day of Judgment, their most predominant quality is ghairat. So we use the word in English, ghairat. In Urdu, we use the word ghairat, ghayur. We use that word, But the Arabic meaning of ghaira is, there's no one word which can translate this word. There's not a single word in English that can translate ghaira. We can come up, or people have came up with a single word in English, but actually when I describe it, you'll see that there's no other language that has the comprehensive meaning of the word ghaira. And once I describe it, you'll realize that it is definitely a quality that all of these people that I mentioned have it, and it is a quality that we need to acquire, because otherwise you and I will not be able to face or fight or struggle or survive the events that are about to come. So, ghaira is to know your own boundaries. By knowing your own boundaries, you don't allow someone to cross into those. Okay? So first is that you know your own boundary, and you don't allow someone who is not in that boundary, to infiltrate, to come in. The other is that you should know the boundary of others. You should know their boundary, and you should not cross that boundary. Right? So two things: knowing your own boundary, knowing boundaries of others, and not letting anyone come into it. If you're able to defend those boundaries, that power is called ghaira. But you cannot utilize that power if you don't know your own boundary and the boundary of others. Right? So to know your own boundary, a person needs to know who they are. what is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed a boundary around us. So we went through in the first 15 days about the discussion of us before this world, in this world, and after this world, and trying to come up with a definition of what is actually your value, so that you understand what your value is, you understand your boundaries, you understand where you're coming from, why you're here and why you're going. So you know what your boundary is. So now once you know your boundary, you don't let anyone else come inside of it. You defend it. But if you don't know your own boundary, or you've got the wrong boundary, even though you're defending it, it doesn't come in the definition of ghaira. It can come in some other definition, but it will not come in the definition of ghaira. Right? So if I was to see myself just as body, and I put a circle around that, I'm not going to let anyone interfere, that you're not body. Okay? So the correct definition or correct understanding of your own self, that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala given to us through the Holy Quran and Ahlulbayt. Once you have that, then you know your boundary. And once you know your boundary, you don't let ghair or someone who is not of this to interfere or to cross. In me? And then for others, our interaction with the rest of the creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There are the enemies of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there's a boundary around them. There is the friends of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there is the individuals that we are supposed to respect, and the individuals that we're not supposed to respect. So we need to know if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given respect to something, someone, or some system. Just because we have to give respect, we think that this thing requires respect and we give it, right? It's not ghaira. People in Medina thought that the level of respect that the Imam of time had was just so that his life is saved. They just wanted to have the life of Imam Hussain to be saved. Family members suggested, others suggested, just save your life. Imam knew that it's not this life that he needs to save. He knew his boundary. He knew that he was the Imam of the time. He knew where he was coming from. He knew why he was here, and he knew where he was going. So according to that boundary was not just his body. Right? And he defended that. What was his one statement by defending that boundary? If someone can tell me, that shows that he knew his boundary. Amr bin Maruf and Munkar, he did to come out, he told us, but his boundary. He said, a person like me cannot do bi'ah of a person like Yazid. That statement shows that Imam Hussain knew his boundary. A person like me cannot do bi'ah to a person like Yazid. Right? By having bi'ah of Yazid, by doing the allegiance to Yazid, Imam Hussain knew that he would be breaking his boundary, or he would let a person like Yazid to enter into his boundary. With me? So that's why he took a stand. First of ghaira that I'm talking about, individually. So now, if we look at that statement, it should apply to us too. Because Imam Hussain is our master, is our Mawla, is our teacher, is our leader, is our role model. So if you want to know what your boundary is, simply just from Imam Hussain, you can say that a person like me cannot give allegiance to people like what are asking of our allegiance. And they will ask you. they will ask you for allegiance. And the ones who will give allegiance, they don't have ghaira. They don't have ghaira. And the ones who will say a person like me cannot pay my allegiance to people like you or to person like you, they would have ghaira. Okay. So that's one. The other is to know the boundaries that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed for respect. Human life has respect. This life that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to people has respect. But which life has respect and which life doesn't have respect, we cannot determine on our own. We need to find out from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And all life Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created. So who is the master? Who is the owner? Who is the manager? Who is the nurturer? Who is the nourisher? It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So He has to let us know to whose life has respect and whose life does not have respect. With me? So now when we are looking at the circumstances that are unfolding, we need to understand that there are people, there are individuals, there are systems that according to the way Quran is or Ahlulbayt teachings are, they don't have respect. The reason why they don't have respect is because they have taken that respect from their own hands. And if they don't realize this, fair enough, but people are realizing. You can see that the systems that were before very much looked upon as aspiration, as that they were looked upon as something to aspire or wanting to get, now you see that the world is looking at those systems as saying that these systems are not what they said that they were. It was a deception, it was a game that was played by certain individuals, and just to gain power, and this power that they've gained, they are only for a few, not for the masses. Okay, and people are realizing that. So if you look at who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given respect to, it is your brothers in faith, it is your sisters in faith, it is the people that are connected with you on the basis of the respect that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given. Therefore, Sila Rahmi is wajib. Sila Rahmi is wajib. Why? Because the Sila has been made by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we're not allowed to break that connection because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it. Right? We cannot make our own relationships to whatever we think we should have a relationship with. No. Who are you going to have relationship with? You need to know what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to us. Right? So if you look at the people that are with the Prophet according to the Quran, the ghayat of the Quran, the thinking pattern of the Quran, the place where Quran wants to take us, the Quran tells us that the people that are with the Prophet, they are people of mercy and love for each other, but when it comes to the ones that are the enemies of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they are with different emotions. Their emotions towards the enemies of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are ashidda, like they are very firm, they are very committed, they are very strong, they are very firm in showing that they are away from these enemies of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that they are not part of the boundary that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed around others. But the people that are with the Prophet, they are among each other, they are merciful and they're loving and they're kind. So in the days that are coming, the more connectivity, the more love and respect and bonding that you have, that is what is going to be required. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us this is the respect. Right? We cannot be separated based on language anymore. We cannot be separated based on the skin color of ours, the food we eat. The times that are coming is going to require extreme amount of unity. With me? So when you are looking at the world, look at the world through the eyes of the Quran and Ahlulbayt. See who you need to give respect to, see who you need to connect to, see who you need to be merciful and loving and kind to, and see who you have to be the opposite of that. Okay? If you're able to do that, then you have ghaira. If you don't, with me? The third thing, part of ghaira, is that you have to know the boundaries of your religion. There was individual, mass, people, other people, creation. Third is religion. You need to know the boundaries of your religion. There are certain actions that we will perform that will take us out of religion. There are certain actions that we will commit that will take us out of religion. Meaning we might think of ourselves as Muslims, but we no longer are Muslims. For example, the Prophet has said that if someone wakes up in the morning and does not think about his brothers and sisters in faith, is no Muslim, is not a Muslim. If you say, no, 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 I'm still a Muslim, well, the Prophet who has brought Islam is telling us, you wake up and you're not thinking about your brothers and sisters in Islam, you're not a Muslim anymore. It's just that simple. There is no philosophical, ideological, theological discussions to be had. It's just that simple. Not Muslim anymore. If we say that, oh, I'm still a Muslim, well, it's not my religion. It's not the religion of some scholars. It's not a religion of my understanding. It's not a religion of anyone. It's a religion of the Prophet. If he's saying that I wake up in the morning and I'm not thinking about my Muslim brothers and sisters, I'm no longer a Muslim. That's it. And there are many Muslims who wake up in the morning, they have no concern about their Muslim brothers and sisters. They're no Muslims. They are out of the bounds of Islam. And they will be treated as such. Right now, the time that we live in, because of Ghaibat Kubra, enjoy. Enjoy. But when the time is come and Imam comes, which I'm saying to you, the times are getting very close. Imam is not going to differentiate based on just because you said Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. It's going to be based on what are the boundaries of Islam, whether you remained in those boundaries or not. He'll be basing it on that. When people say, okay, what's the point of protest? Baba, I protest so I can remain a Muslim. I come out on the street so I can remain a Muslim. I cannot stay at home. Why? It's not just about the Prophet said, if you don't think, well, if you think about your brothers and sisters, well, there's some things you need to do. It's not just, oh yes, I've looked at the news, I'm a Muslim now. You have to do something about it. The Prophet has said, if a Muslim asks for help from another Muslim, doesn't give it, not a Muslim anymore. So when the Imam comes, he's not going to be basing on this. He's going to be basing on the boundaries that the Holy Prophet has made around Islam. We need to know those boundaries so that we don't step out of those boundaries. To remain on those boundaries requires ghaira. You see? Now if you go look at all the Anbiya, you go look at all the Asfiya, you look at all the Awliya, They were ghuyur. They were ghuyur. They knew their boundary, they knew the creation's boundary, they knew the religion's boundary, and they remained in that. And they did not allow others to enter into it. The boundaries of religion were very simple. Like what we understand is that, okay, if you say, I understand that namaz, I don't pray, but, you know, but namaz is part of religion. If you say that, you're still a Muslim. But if you say there is no namaz in religion, then you are denying one of the zururiyat deen, necessities of religion, and a person is out of religion. By not performing salah, a person is a fasik, is a fajr, but he's still a Muslim. Because, to do qada of salah knowingly is fisq. It's from Gunani Kabira. It's guaranteed punishment. And it's not like, okay, I'll do qaza, doesn't matter, I'll do qaza afterwards. I'll miss it, but I'll do qaza later on. Like Shab Qadr, I'll do qaza umri, 100 rakat, all taken care of. It's not like that. By doing qada of a prayer that is missed, you now become eligible to ask for forgiveness. Just because you've done your qaza doesn't mean that a person is forgiven. It's just that before a person, if he hasn't done the qaza, is not even eligible to ask for forgiveness. Once you've done the qaza, then you're eligible to say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, please forgive me. I missed my fajr, I missed my zohr, and you forgive me. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, okay, I forgive you. Or he says no. Right? But if a person hasn't done qaza, they can't even say, Astaghfirullah Rabbi wa atubu alayhi, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, forgive me for missing my prayer. No, you got to first read it, then stand and say, I'm sorry. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can forgive or not. Okay? So these are just the things that we think that are just going to be taking us out of Islam. When Imam comes, if you look at the way the scenario is going to be, 10,000 or 70,000 Moulanas, ulama, their necks are going to be cut. Okay? So you'd be like, Arabs, like, I've told you this before anyways, but I'll say it again for our Arab brothers. This is a real event that happened. When Moulana was speaking, he was on the mimbar, he mentioned this. And when he come down from the mimbar, person came, kissed on his neck. And he's like, people generally kiss on the forehead, they kiss hand. Why you kiss me here? And he goes, I want to kiss at the place where the Zulfikar is going to be. Okay? So nobody can do that today, okay? But that's what we have in traditions, that this is what's going to happen. Now, if you think about it, why would the Imam, right? If someone is an alim and so forth, why would the Imam do that? With his Zulfikar. Zulfikar means what? It disconnects you from two things. Zulfikar is Zulfikar, two fikar, separation. One from the world, second from heaven. So if the Zulfikar comes, one, you're dead. Second, no heaven. Finish. So the reason is that if you look at our circumstances, it was wajib on the scholars, it was wajib on the people who know the truth to deliver that truth to the people. To get them ghuyur, to show by example, ghaira. And the ulama who have done it, they have reached the status of martyrdom. No, there is no doubt about in anyone's mind whether they're enemies, whether they're from their mazhab or not, that they were ghuyur. History is written, it's all there. There's no biases. There's no biases. It's written, it's there. anyone can read, and anyone coming after 1,000 years can read. That these scholars who have, they knew their boundary, they did not let anyone enter into it. They knew the creation's boundary, they did not allow anyone to enter that. They did give respect to the ones that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to give respect, and the ones to not give respect, they did not give respect. They knew the boundaries of Islam, they stayed within it. Imam Khomeini says that a faqih that does not know the current circumstances and cannot distinguish their responsibility from the current affairs, from the conditions of the time, is no faqih. Why? Because if a person is a faqih, then they need to know what their responsibility is. Right? In every era, they need to know. Right? So if you look at those scholars, you can see. Right? But if you look at majority, money, greed, fear, houses, cars, glitter, glamour, fame. And where's the truth? A year before Karbala, the event of Karbala, Imam Hussain gathered the leaders and the scholars, and he gave a sermon in Mina. He said to them, what has happened to you? Right? He said, what has happened to you? In front of you, wrongs are being done. The laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are being broken, but you don't get angry, you don't do nothing. But if one of the traditions of your forefathers is broken, you get angry. Right? If you look at the scholars now in any of the cultures, the tradition gets broken. Oh. But if laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are being broken, people are going away from Islam, away from Quran, away from the actual pure Islam that the Prophet brought. It's okay, inshallah, they will come back. Yeah, they will come back. But if one of the tradition, no. It's not acceptable. Then Imam said, why do you think they treat you like prince? If you look at ulama, people treat them like a prince. Right? You enter, people stand up, people bow down, they kiss your hand, they give you so much love and respect. Imam said, why do you think they treat you like a prince? Because they want the religion from you. Because they want their religion from you. Why don't you give their religion to them? Right? They want their religion, give them that religion. Why don't you give it? Right? So if a person can become ghayur, they will survive these times. But if a person does not get ghayur, it will be very difficult to survive these times. Because there's constant bombardment on us to infiltrate into our boundary. There's constant bombardment that they are interfering in the boundaries of creation, and there's constant bombardment that they are, going into the boundaries of religion. Okay. So now, inshallah, you and I are just that responsible. If we are saying that we are waiting for the Imam, if only this quality you can gain in this world, ghaira, you'll be successful in this world and the hereafter. If you need to protect the boundaries of Islam, what do you need to know? What are the boundaries of Islam? So the first part, you have to know yourself, who you are. Second part, you have to know the creation, everyone around, right? The third part, you have to know what Islam is. So in these three parts, if a person is able to know their boundaries, they have the knowledge and then they defend in action with their lives, with their money, with their time, with their knowledge, with their experience, with whatever, right? Then that person is ghayur. Right? And Quran wants people who are, Quran wants to make people who are ghayur. Is a book that can make people ghayur. And the ones who recited Quran and did not become ghayur, yeah, they lost the purpose what the book was delivered for. If you look at the whole of the Quran, it will tell you yourself. It will talk about you, right? It will talk about us, where we came from, why we're here, where we're going. It will tell you what the boundaries are, right, of yours, right? Then it will tell about all the whole of the creation, everyone, good character, good system, bad system, enemies of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, friends of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, everyone. Tells you exactly what their boundaries are, what the definitions are. Tells you crystal clear. Right? It's bayin, it's furqan. It tells us, right? And then what is Islam supposed to be? What are the boundaries of Islam? It tells you. And then on top of that, we have Quran in Natiq, we have Ahlulbayt and Muslim that told us. So the whole thing, today I was told to summarize for the last 30 days what we've been talking about, and the whole 30 days, if you were to think and listen, you will see that it was all about ghaira. The way perhaps we thought of ghaira, how do we think of ghaira? We just take another 10, 15 minutes of us. In our culture, a ghayur is who? Angry. Yeah. Yeah, Hassan. So it's not just our culture. Yeah. The more person ghayur, yani angry. Yani angry like what? And he just puts everyone down, you can't talk, you can just like this. There's a ghayur. Does that fit the definition of Islam? No. Yeah, it doesn't. Imam Hassan was asked what is shujat. If you want to take it in that context too, Imam Hassan was asked what is shujat. He said a shuja person is the one who protects the hudud of religion, is the one whose shoulders are down, is humble, is the one who delivers the rights of others, is the one who looks at his things that he has done, he reassesses them. Nazar-e-Sani. That he looks at event that he's done or a work that he's done, and then he reassesses, looks back. Did I do it right? Did I not do it right? Nazar-e-Sani. Right? And the last one that Imam said, as a shuja person, as a brave person, is the one who loves the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is from Quran and Natiq. This is what I said. Imam said about in 5 things. He said everything. Right? Our definition of brave, someone like, I, I he couldn't speak in front of me. I put him in his place, you are so brave, you're so, this is our bravery. But if you're that brave, what happens in front of the enemies of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Why can't you put them in the place? It's only brothers and sisters, Muslim brothers and sisters, that you can put in place. The ones who are from your country, from your town, from your mazhab, from your religion. Oh, very brave there. When it comes to others, what happened, Aga? Oh, you know what? I was just taking it easy. I didn't want to make any fuss. Yeah, okay. See, this is like, it's easy to be brave, or the person is like, very brave outside, goes home, Salam alaikum, how are you? Completely different. What happened to this guy who's outside, like shouting and screaming, so brave, comes home and the house is like, doesn't want to talk or it's like, chup. That's not bravery. Or they're very brave with their family, like, opposite, that they're, shouting, screaming at his wife and, children and beating and all that. Very brave, very ghayur, very this, that, the other. Same person come out, what happened? Right? There was I'm telling you a story. It was a person who was known to be like the gangster of the area, right? He was known to be gangster, like a thug. Everybody he was fighting and doing all of this stuff. So police caught him, and they just put him in the chair, went like this. And just that they went like this, he started crying. They go like, "What happened to you? You were, so brave. You were like everyone scared of you, right? What happened? Why are you crying?" He goes, "Sir, nobody did that to me." So, so because nobody did that, he was brave. But as soon as somebody did, start crying. And this is majority of the countries or systems or people that are so strong, that are so like high and mighty and brave. And as soon as someone goes like this, they're like, "Oh, we were okay, we're fine, we didn't do anything." We're just like, eh. Right? So for us, the definition of brave or shuja and the definition that Imam Hassan gave is very different. A person who gives rights to others is part of bravery. You can't, a person would be a coward not to give rights. To give rights to your wife, to give rights to your children, to give rights to your brothers and sisters, to give rights is bravery. And not to give is cowardness. Nazar Sani, we've done this event, sit down, look back, what went right, what went wrong, did we get what we wanted, did we accomplish what we wanted, was it something that we could have done better next time, or you can tell me, if I'm brave, I'll accept your feedback, right? And if I'm a coward, I will say, no, 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 this, that, the other. Like justifying. But if a brave person takes the feedback, says, okay, this happened, we could improve, we can do better. That's bravery. Just thinking that whatever that you do is always right is ujub. Ujub is a disease of the soul where a person thinks that whatever they do is the best. Like no one can read the tablet like I can. No one can read the newspaper like I can. Nobody can play badminton like I can. Nobody, it's like that is a spiritual disease. That a person thinks that whatever they do is like just no one can do any better. Right? A brave person looks at feedback, says, okay, yes. Why is it bravery? Because when you hear feedback, you have to assess your ego. And when you assess your ego, only a brave person admits. A coward does what? Justifies. As soon as he justifies, what happens to the ego? It gets bigger. And as it gets bigger, what happens to his shoulders? Now he's no longer humble in front of people. Right? Imam said a brave person's shoulders are down. He's humble. Loving creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like if you look at the people that they are calling today terrorists and so forth, fundamentalists or whatever they want to put their labels on, if you look at, if you're looking at the ones that they made for their political gains, those are separate. For example, you have Al-Qaeda, you have ISIS, you have all of these people. These have nothing to do with Islam. They have nothing to do with the tenets of Islam. They've got nothing to do with bravery. They've got nothing to do with politics. They've got nothing. They have absolutely demented ideology which has been projected, given to them, and trained to demean Islam and the tenets of Islam. Okay, we're not talking about them. If you look at the ones that are showing muqawamah, they have love for humanity. They want human beings to have to be able to give them a potential, an opportunity to tap into their potential, to get the stature that they deserve. Right? They don't have any, their hearts are soft. They cry. A little bit thing they hear about someone in Africa, in this place, that place, has happened, and they will cry. They will try their best to help them. Right? It's part of bravery. It's to love the creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It doesn't matter who, you know. Um, one of the women, just 5 moments. One of the women, after like Imam Khomeini, he came back from Paris. She wrote, there's a few letters that came. One of the letters that came was this woman, she goes, I'm a Christian person. And she interacted with Imam Khomeini. She said, I'm a Christian person. And I don't know whether you're a saint or you're a prophet or what you are. She said, but I want you to send me something that belongs to you. Because I want to put that in my grave when I die. A Christian woman writing to Imam Khomeini to send her something that he owns. She wants to take that in her grave because she feels that that thing that belonged to Imam Khomeini would help her in the afterlife. Right? So there's so many people who have nothing to do with faith, but the way that they were attracted to these individuals, there was a reason. Christmas came, Imam gave flowers to everybody in the neighborhood. Right? So many people were coming to meet him. He told them, no, I can't see you. The neighbors are getting disturbed. When you look at these individuals that are actually brave, they love human beings. They love humanity. They want to save anyone who's being oppressed, right? Regardless of their creed, nation, or religion. So, now you might say, okay, we heard so much about our different scholars and, majority of them that I named. Now, it's not about bias, right? As a person who wants to go and progress, you and I need people that can give us the right way of looking at the world, right? For me, the journey began with Sayyid Mutahari. He gave me a way to look at life, a way to look at religion, a way to look at, what is right and wrong. And then this journey continued, right? It's not about biases. If a person who's a conscious mind can tell what is right and what is wrong, we need people that can help us to see what is real. So inshallah, thank you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You was thinking I was going to say thank you to you, so thank you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for giving all of us the opportunity to be together. It's definitely a blessing. And the individuals who are willing to listen and open their hearts and their minds and their souls and give time, elevate their levels, and give them all of the resources necessary to implement and to apply the knowledge that they received, so that we as together can be in a state of grace and gratitude to you. And then may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring the Imam of our time as soon as possible in these circumstances that we're in. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's not just words, I'm not just saying that. We need you to help us to become Ghayur. Otherwise, we will not survive. I ask sincerely and humbly to make us Ghayur and give us the opportunity to give the support which is required to the Imam of the time. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Wal asr. Inna al-insana lafi khusr. إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر.
Brothers and sisters, just viewers. Brother Sajjad talked in the beginning. I have to end. Not